Portola Valley, there's a freeway off-ramp that leads to a busy street that turns into a narrow one-lane road that turns into a trail that most use for biking. A freeway off-ramp for a bike trail? I found myself wondering how this had come to be. Here's what I've learned. Alpine Road, and I speak of the mountainous part, the part that leads up into the Santa Cruz Mountains, its history is very much tied to a parallel route on the ridgeline just to the east. Both that long, gentle ridge and the Corte Madera Creek Canyon Alpine Falls were created by the San Andreas Fault. For Native Americans, the ridge route, a route we would later call Old Spanish Trail or the Coal Mine Ridge Road, was the easiest way to get to the crest of the ridgeline. From there they could easily descend to their summer homes at Año Nuevo. Compared to the pandemic deaths from introduced disease and the killing or subjugation of the remaining Native Americans, a historical record doesn't reveal much as having happened in the area during the 300 years of Spanish and Mexican rule. There were, though, a few local developments. Mexican troops using the Native American route chased a supposedly renegade Indian, Jose Pomponio, up to this cave in an area that by the end of the century would be known as the Alpine, or the Alpine District. It's now part of the Long Ridge Open Space Preserve. Pomponio was not taken this day, but he would be captured and killed the following year. The Mexican government granted Antonio Buelna an 18,000-acre ranch in Pescadero and another much smaller one in Palo Alto. This one, Rancho San Francisquito, would eventually become part of what is now Stanford University. I add to this that Buelna's cousin Felix would go on to found, on Alpine Road, what is now one of the oldest operating bars in California. But I digress. Widening the Indians' route enough to pass an ox cart, Buelna connected his two farms, and the peninsula's first road to the coast was established. After a short nasty war in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, Mexico ceded California to the United States. Almost simultaneously, gold was discovered. The world rushed in. On the peninsula, logging and ranching fueled the growth of Alpine. Its supplies, its communication to the outside world initially come via Old Spanish Trail. William Page buys his mill in the Alpine and creates Page Mill Road, a direct connection to his lumberyard in Mayfield and its new train station. Mayfield would later become the southern half of Palo Alto. Traffic on Old Spanish Trail is drawn to Page Mill. The ridge route falls into non-use and is eventually blocked off. A brief digression. In 1858, the newly formed San Mateo County government declared the Coal Mine Ridge Road, or Old Spanish Trail, to forever be a public road. As late as 1996, San Mateo County officials still claimed ownership of the right-of-way. But I digress yet again. So how do we get from a smooth, gentle, geologically stable road up the ridgeline to our Alpine Road? Enter Borel and Fitzpatrick. Antonio Borel was a banker, a Death Valley borax mining magnate, a cable car entrepreneur. Perhaps more importantly, just to his north, Edward Fitzpatrick, a railroad attorney, a one-time Superior Court judge, and a major investor in the American Land and Water Company, which owned much of what is now Windy Hill or the Fogarty Winery. Both were prominent and influential citizens of San Mateo County. A new road was surveyed. This would be a publicly funded road that would greatly improve access for Fitzpatrick. No longer would his dead-end 2-mile driveway ford Corte Madera Creek 7 times on the way to his ranch. More importantly, though, for San Mateo County, Borel, and all the San Mateo County-based loggers and ranchers of the Alpine, no longer would they have to transit through Santa Clara County on their way to transportation hubs in Menlo Park and Redwood City. The Redwood City Democrat was giddy. Referring to the new road, It means the realization of hopes we have long entertained. It will make our community the transportation point of a rich mountainous district. A competitive bid process led to a total construction cost of $7,216. The Democrats' excitement continued as construction began in the summer of 1895. The work that has been done in the new Alpine grade reveals such a regular and delightful grade that the spectator is led to the strongest enthusiasm over the ease and possibility of continuing the same down the western slopes along Pescadero Creek to the lovely city by the sea. That city would be Pescadero. Geotechnically, it wasn't well thought through. As revealed in the 1894 map, the new Alpine Road would traverse 10 active slide areas before it connected to Skyline and the Alpine District. Town historian Dorothy Regnery, a primary source for this report, wrote, "Each winter the road was closed, notoriously impassable in the rainy season. The narrow shelf-like road in the canyon is easily eroded by waters rushing down to the stream. The slides of its raw banks often block road passage." Regnery adds, "In the summer, knee-deep powder was equally inconvenient." So just to summarize where we are in the story, the ancient route up the ridgeline, the one the Native Americans, the Spanish, and the Mexicans used to use, it's been shut down, and as of 1895 we have a parallel route up the creek bed to the west. C&H sugar shipping magnate Sonny Jim Rolfe starts buying land atop Coal Mine Ridge. Though it's blocked off today, access to Rolfe's mountaintop ranch was primarily via Alpine Road. Sonny Jim is elected mayor of San Francisco. As the most colorful mayor San Francisco ever had, Rolfe remained in charge of City Hall for 19 years. Sonny Jim is elected governor. He is ill-equipped intellectually, politically, and temperamentally to cope with the state's impending financial collapse. Though it was Prohibition, he still loved his scotch. Many law-abiding San Franciscans would join him for a binge on his mountaintop ranch. As governor, he gained infamy for a promise to pardon anyone involved in the lynching of 2 white men who were charged with the murder of the son of a San Jose department store owner. Thousands watched as the men were hung. Of more local interest, on the same day in the summer of 1932 that President Hoover was tear-gassing World War I vets, the bonus marchers, Rolfe's California State Highway Department rejected from inclusion into its system most of what would become Highway 92, the road to Half Moon Bay. They did, however, simultaneously accept into their system sleepy little Alpine Road, the road Governor Rolfe would take to his ranch. A couple years later, Rolfe would die of a stroke before he could seek re-election as governor. Time marched on. In the late 60s, Portola Valley led an effort to replace Alpine Road with a 4-lane divided parkway as far west as Arastradero Road. Included in the proposal for this mini freeway was a recommendation that either Old Spanish Trail be resurrected as a 2-lane road, or that Dirt Alpine be rerouted to the west, avoiding many of the slide-prone areas. Alas, rising environmental awareness had it that the town should discourage more development in the traffic it brings rather than plan for its inevitability. The parkway plan was dropped. Severe storms persisted, though. Periodically, Upper Alpine and Dirt Alpine above it were closed for repairs. It's not clear if Governor Rolfe's inclusion of Alpine as a state highway led directly to its status as a federal highway, but 7 decades later, the federal government would pick up $6.4 million of the $6.9 million cost for the renovation of the roadway. Though the trees would continue to fall, and smaller slides would undoubtedly happen from time to time, at least Upper Alpine's roadbed was, for the first time since it was built 105 years before, stable. By the 70s, Dirt Alpine had become kind of lawless. The Almanac reported that on Dirt Alpine, car thieves stripped their booty, drunks blast shotguns. 5 youths packing 7 rifles between them were arrested on Dirt Alpine. One was booked on attempted murder as he shot and badly wounded a sheriff in a helicopter that had been sent to locate the gunman. The crime problem largely came to an end when Dirt Alpine was closed to vehicles year-round. Landslide, drainage issues continued apace. For the Route Centennial, a huge slide took out the roadbed for 25 yards. This slide, like the rest, was noted in the 1893 map. Rather than attempt to repair the missing roadbed, a steep bypass that cut the switchback was created. Higher up, a culvert failure led to the formation of a transient lake and then a dam break that took out another section of the old roadbed. Dirt Alpine, owned yet ignored by San Mateo County, actually does have a bright future. Recognizing its importance to the region's park and open space areas, Midpen has agreed to cure a series of erosion problems. Once done, they will own and manage the route. Over the next 3 summers, they plan to build a huge retaining wall just above the Dirt Alpine gate. And above the bypass, they'll install drainage culverts and water bars. Perhaps most noticeable to the visitor in the long run, a new bypass to the bypass will be created, this one not so steep. During construction, parts of the road will be closed for months at a time. 130 years after their construction, both that narrow 1-lane road, Upper Alpine, and above it, the recreational trail Dirt Alpine, will both be redesigned, renovated, and ready for decades, hopefully centuries to come.